Okay, everyone, I'm going to try to talk really loud. Can anybody not hear me?
Stand up here.
I'm okay right here. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. We all know the T-18's a very old design, so this is kind of fitting that we're underneath the tree and doing this old school. So let's just embrace the moment. We all get to sit in the grass at Oshkosh, listen to airplanes fly by, and talk about T-18. So it is what it is. So I apologize that we're not inside, and you can't see my lovely PowerPoint, and you can't tell the pretty pictures of T-18s, but let's just make do with it. So I see a lot of familiar faces. I see, gladly, some unfamiliar faces. Is there anyone here who's just interested in the T-18, just happened to wander by, doesn't own a T-18, not building a T-18, anyone that might fit that realm? There's one right there. Okay, we got one, we got two. So just to help guide the conversation, would you consider yourselves interested in building a T-18 or interested in owning a T-18?
Oh.
Okay.
Whoa, both are, you know, that thing's flexing enough that by the time you get done with your talk, you might...
I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
I'm not that heavy. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little history of the T-18, and I'll have my PowerPoint in front of me, so anybody, especially Bob or Gary or Cubes, correct me if I'm wrong. So back in 1963, EAA had a design contest that had, I believe there were 4 criteria. You had to design an airplane that could be built with common hand tools, had to be under $5,000 at the time, had to be able to be flown by your typical average pilot, and it had to be trailerable within an hour. So the T-18 did not make that contest. But John Thorp kind of proposed the idea as a, hey, I see where this is going. Why don't you guys consider going another route? So the way things were going at the time, where they were all tube and fabric and wood, what you expect from the early 1960s. So John Thorp wrote a really interesting article for at the time, was it Experiment or Ford Aviation? It doesn't matter, we'll call it Ford Aviation, where he proposed this all-metal airplane and suggested that you could build an all-metal airplane, make it simpler and build it quicker than you could a wooden fabric airplane. So long story short, that's where the T-18 came from. The original inspiration was kind of an open cockpit, under 140 mile an hour airplane. But as we all know, that's not how things ended up. It ended up being a 200 mile an hour, 175 mile an hour cruise aircraft that we all love and enjoy today. It has a great history. It was the first home-built aircraft to go around the world, first to fly across the Pacific down to Australia, and the first to fly over both geographic and magnetic North poles. So there's a lot of history there. It's been overshadowed by some of our other fellow home-built aircraft, but it's still going very strong, and everyone here who owns one will tell you that there's not a more enthusiastic owners group than we are. So that's it in a nutshell. If you guys have any specific questions regarding T-18, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you are kind of our audience right there. Any specific questions about the T-18?
No, I spent most of the winter studying.
Okay.
I don't know that I have any specific questions.
Okay, great.
But I wanted, you know, I haven't moved on anything, so I didn't want to miss this.
Okay, so my job is kind of introduce the real host, which is Jim Grahn, aka Cubes, who's the owner of Thorp Central, and he is our kits and parts supplier for the S-18, which is also known as the T-18CW, which is a widened version of the T-18, 5 inches longer. It also has a convertible folding wing with the Thorp news they want to bring up before Jim speaks. Nothing? Okay, Jim, hop on the chair.
I might weigh a little more than you. Sure.
Make sure you stand on the edges.
Yeah. I got some brochures here. Please take some so I don't have to carry them all the way back home. Yeah, pretty soon. Thorp Central is going strong. We've got suppliers all over the western United States. Welders, we got some of the best fiberglass people in the business. They actually make golf carts and golf course grooming equipment for a living. and just help me out on the side. So their quality of their work is outstanding. I have a professional welder who's made hot rods, Baja 1000 cars, all that sort of stuff. That's what he does for a living. He fabricates movie sets and things for the movie industry. His work is outstanding. I've got a machinist that he works down to 2/10,000ths of an inch. So when I hand him plans, for those of you who haven't seen the plans, they're fairly detailed. They can be down to a 10,000th of an inch. And he says, well, is it this or is it that? You know, I have to go, dude, don't worry about it. It's, you know, measure it with my micrometer, cut it with me, guys. So we can make, have made, have in stock every single part, piece, nut, bolt, whatever you need for the Thorp T-18. On the website, thorpcentral.com, you can find all the part numbers and all the parts there. We sell the plans. We sell anything from just the plans to plans in a starter kit, which is an aileron, to, you know, if you just want a fuselage kit or a wing kit or a horizontal tail or rudder, you're not sure you want to build one and you want something cheap, you know, go this way. So, any of the above. The entire kit is $20,500, which is cheaper than most, and you'll find that the airplane is handles better, is more controls are much better harmonized, faster, safer airplane. So it's really a wonderful bird. I'm not in this business to make a lot of money. This is one of 3 jobs I have. The others pay for this. I do it because I enjoy this airplane so much that I just didn't want to see it go well. The big news I've been working real hard with some vendors. I think about 2 Oshkoshes ago I announced to you that we have established a relationship with Matco Brakes, so I can get a really good discount on any part you see on their website. And I don't put them on necessarily on my website because there's a lot of opinions out there on what Matco parts you want on your airplane. So you just tell me what you want from their website, I'll resource it, and I'll give you a price. That's kind of how it works. Big news for this year is I finally got through the Hartzell propellers, and I am an OEM distributor for Hartzell now. And we have been talking about a lot of things with Hartzell. If you look on their compatibility chart, there's 2 hubs and 2 blades for the 0320 and the 0360 that are on their website for the Thorp. We can also put in the blended airfoil, which eliminates the 0360 range where you cannot operate continuously. I believe it's 2020-250 when you have one. Somewhere right in there. It's prohibited from continuous operation. The blended airfoil blades take that away. We can get those. Price for the Hartzell propellers. Look at Van's website and subtract $100. That's what I'm going to do, basically. But I'll research any hub and blade combination you want, and they're not announcing it yet, but I'll tell you that they're researching the fixed pitch market. They think they're leaving a lot on the table, and he came to me and said that I think that's a perfect airplane to bring this thing out on. So we may be getting something that they don't even have yet on Thorp. Okay? Yes, sir.
Do you have any relationship with any of the engine providers, either Titan or Michael?
I do not. That's probably the next step.
Give our the ailerons and the flaps, stuff like that. Is that all trailing edge riveted or is that reversing?
Trailing edge riveted.
What was the question?
Are the flaps trailing edge riveted?
And the ailerons.
Yeah. Everything I sell is exactly according to the plan. I'm not going to go redesign what John and Lee came out with. For those who haven't seen them, the folding wing design was designed to be folded rather quickly for the design contest. And Rich Brazel can tell you that he can fold his by himself in about 25 minutes. People do it. A lot of people bolt them down just because they don't need to fold them. It's there for them. We have all the universals, all the parts to make the wing pin. Okay. I talked to Richard Eklund right before I left to come out here. If you don't know him, Richard Eklund owns the rights to the T-18. He and I have been working very closely together many years. Richard is failing in health, and he decided to sell his business. And maybe somebody in the crowd knows more about it than I do, but he says he sold his business. I don't know who he sold to or where it's going or what the plans are, but the business is sold. Canopy supplier is they're still in business and doing very well. We do not use in the S-18. We do not use airplane plastics in Tip City, Ohio. I've been talking with them, trying to control them to actually build a mold for an S-18. They have all the T-18 stuff, not the S-18, and they refuse to sell a T-18 canopy to an S-18 guy. It really doesn't. But we still have it. I'm sorry?
Who are you using for a canopy supplier?
It's Aviation Windshields, I think is the name of it, in LA. Her name is Judy.
Are you happy with their quality?
Their quality is excellent. They make parts for most commercial airlines. They're excellent quality. Their prices are very high, especially in comparison to the Ohio folks.
Or what do you sell?
What I got on the website, it's I don't remember. It's like $1,500 for the windshield and $330, I think. Or I'm sorry, $50 for the canopy. The biggest problem, and you guys have seen through my landing gear stuff, shipping is out of control. Absolutely out of control. Last week I finally established a relationship with DHL, so I'm going to get 50% off DHL now, and that I just pass on to you because I just think the shipping is out of control. And that's why I redesigned the landing gear, just to make it easier to ship. That's it in a nutshell. I've got 3 of them.
It's 2 feet now.
What you have is a welded triangle. It's all 1.5 inch tube now, not 1.25 inch. And then you've got legs that go in it that are bolted on. And so it's 3 pieces. And those, I've got 3 of them flying right now. All 3 of them said they did not need to shim the gear at all when they aligned it. So my welder's doing a good job. The fixture that I gave him is huge. It's absolutely massive. About 300-pound fixture that holds it.
The actual alignment hole?
Yeah. Everything's drilled. All you got to do is bolt it to the airframe and bolt the axle. Yeah, it's got 3 and 5 bolts that go through the triangle that hold the leg in. It's very stout. The first set of gear I made, the plans call for 313 wall, heat treated to 180,000 psi. First set I made out of 375 wall, just because I actually got it cheaper than the 313 wall. And it's all heat treated, and they're very stout. They're actually lighter than the whole setup is actually lighter than a regular. Okay, so I got a lot of brochures here. I'm here if you want to ask questions about anything. Anything else in the meantime?
Is that all the parts listed on the website?
Yes. Yep, thorpcentral.com, and you can get to it from Lee's website through 2-inch longer gear. Yeah, that's what everybody's been wanting. So
How about the tail wheel? Are you using a trusty type tail wheel or the old leaf springs?
I have trusty tail wheel springs in stock. I also have Aviation Products 6-inch double fork tail wheels in stock. I've been, for those of you who tried to get a hold of Karen over at Aviation Products, he's hard to get a hold of. I won't go into why, but I work very closely with Karen. She's a great gal, and I've got those in stock. I have a 4-inch in stock too, if anybody wants to work.
Are most all your vendors in the Las Vegas area?
No. My plans are done from a professional shop in downtown Vegas, and my machinist is in Vegas. I've got one welder in Vegas. I don't use him a whole lot. Not as experienced as the other one. I got one welder in Riverside. Canopies are in LA. Fiberglass is in Visalia. Tail wheels are in Ohio. Yeah, they're all over. So I actually get my Thorp to get paid to go fly my Thorp. Best of all worlds. Anything else? Any planned part, whatever you need, give us a call. Yeah.
I want to thank Jim for stepping up and making this so.
Yeah.
He is absolutely correct. He's not going to get rich doing it.
I'm not.
Thank you.
Thank you. Need to thank my wife, Mary Kay. We're taking food out of horses' mouths to do this.
Just a couple more things. There's a sign-up sheet going around for the dinner on Friday. Karen Reed has it. It's at 7 o'clock at the Roxy. This hadn't been the best so far, but you know, maybe a sit-down dinner might be a little more intimate. We can find out what everybody's been up to. I'm going to call a couple people out real quick though, because I'm personally curious, and we're short on the time so far, and I think we might want to hear some stories from these folks. So I know we've got some new Thorp owners here that flew into Oshkosh. First time that I'm aware of. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to hear some impressions of the airplane from them being new owners. And then lastly, I would like Bernie Freed to come up and talk to us about his new Powerplant installation and what he did, and what he saw in performance changes, and his overall impression of the motor he built up. So, new Thorp owners. We've got one right there.
Okay, John Sweet, Pittsburgh. It's very fortunate. Chapter 45 has a picnic every summer. I went to the picnic. They had a Thorp sitting out there. And the workmanship on this plane is incredible. 3 of these planes were built in Chicago in 1974. 12055. Yeah. So Ed Burke, Doug Burke. Yep. Yes. Did you know him? Okay. I'd like to talk to him. Yeah. Workmanship is beautiful. It's like part of the lip of large. So I guess my message would be that there's beautiful planes out there looking to find them. You can find a good one. I wasn't looking for it, but I just happened to find it. And has an 0290 at hidden seats in it. Total cruise of 50, 55 miles per hour. So, is that all what you're looking for?
Yeah, just wanted to.
Okay. Chuck Flowers. I don't have to tell any of you guys about the Thorp. You all know all about it. I'm learning. Here's how I got into the Thorp. Lived next to Gary for 6 years. He's got 2 of them. For a year or 2, they didn't invite me to breakfast. My little Cherokee 140 wouldn't keep up. But he's a pretty sharp guy, right? He's a smart guy. Started biting. Last one by. My $100 hamburger started costing me $300 for the ball, right? That's one guy. Gary, one night we were walking down, my wife and I walking down the taxiway. Gary pulls up with his wife and he goes, got the plane. Walked up. I
bit intimidated. When I say we, it's me, my girlfriend, Erin, Amber. Intimidated because we're fairly low time tailwheel pilots. Flew the basic originally, so jumping this thing, I'm like, what the hell we get into? We had some really experienced pilots again. Brian being one of them. Kind of did some left seat, right seat training with them. Got schooled up. Loved it. It's awesome, man. So we flew up from the hobby, and we have an OT-90 as well. We cruised at 140 indicated. We had some good winds and some bad winds. We saw up to 170 ground speed, and just totally, uneventful, awesome flight the whole way. So real good.
Gary, you're not a new Thorp holder. You got some more.
Yeah, I have a few of them. I kind of go around and collect Thorps, That's kind of what I do now. But I am retired. I've been for 3 years. But, I can't say enough about the T-18. One thing I'd like to emphasize is a lot of people say that they're intimidated by it. They say it's a little screwy or a little fast or it lands fast. The main thing you want to really scrutinize is the alignment of the gear is a big issue. You want that bang on. You need somebody that has a lot of experience with it. There is a lot of experience around here, but handling is a big deal. Tire pressure is a big deal. The trusty tail wheel, if you still got the leaf spring on it, trusty tail wheel, the dual fork is a big deal. Get that stuff nailed down. It's not intimidating. I mean, Howard Jen's wife, she flew it. I have one. I had one that was built by a guy by the name of Glenn Young. His wife flew it. His 2 sons flew it. It's not out of the question. You do need somebody that's experienced in flying them. Just don't go buy one and then just go out and think you're going to fly it. That's not a good idea. But it's all management. Chuck is a low-time pilot, a couple hundred hours. Tailwheel, or nose gear guy, and after a few times, I took him up in mine. We probably spent, 5-6 hours in mine. Went down to a big wide runway. Landings, Up in the air, they fly just fine. They're a very stable airplane. The little bit of dehedral, it gets up on a step, it just sits there and flies. You'll like it as you get into it. The crampness of it, I've got a grandson, he's about 250 pounds. He and I get in it, I'm a little lightweight myself. And the one from Glenn Young that I have, it's got an OT-90D2 in it. Not a lot of power, but it gets us off the runway. Once you get up, get going, you don't even know the guy's there. So it all flows. I can't say enough about it. They're a real bang for the buck. If you compare it to the RVs that are out there, you can't beat it. So I can't say enough about it. The O290, the gas burn on them is real super reasonable. You get the speed out of it, and we're here. We flew all the way from Seattle out here, and now we're flying all the way back. It's real pleasant plane to fly. So if you're thinking about buying one, or building one,
One last of this. Bernie, you mind coming up and just telling us what you did to your airplane?
I'm Bernie Freed from San Antonio area. I've got a Thorp I've been flying for. I've been flying it for about 25 years with a 290, and I had an 0-290 D2 and a 135 horse, and it was getting to where it needed a top overhaul, and the parts are getting kind of pricey on it, so decided to re-engine it. And I was looking at 320s and 360s, but blanket or towel I have, the 360 won't fit in it, so I decided to go with a 320. And then ECI makes a 340 crank, and I was able to work out a deal with an engine shop, basically to swap the cranks from the 320 with the 340. And it's crank and rods are different in the 340, and it makes about 170 horsepower with the 8.5 to 1 compression ratio, so you can run auto fuel with it. And if you want it to go up to 10 to 1 or so, you can get probably 185 horsepower and still keep the weight of the 320 in the installation dimensions. And get up the rate of climb about 600-700 foot a minute. And speed used to be about 165 to 170, depending on how hard I'd run. And now it picked up about 10 miles an hour over that. But fuel burns went down just a little bit on it. So it is an option going with the 340, depending on if you have to buy a crank outright or not, or if you're building a new engine. It's one option to get a little bit more power out of a lighter weight engine. But you can only hot rod a 320 so much. And weight-wise, it's about 27 pounds a gain, going from a 290 for you 290 guys if you ever want to swap. Because the prop hub extension, prop bolts, it's not just the engine that weighs more, everything's a little heavier. But I went from an Odyssey to one of those little lithium batteries, and that thing's 4 pounds. So that dropped 11 pounds off, so the net gain was about 16 pounds with the engine swap. So didn't gain much weight at all, and now it flies like a lot of you guys. I'll be able to keep up now.
What prop did you use?
Oh, I forgot about that. I put a 3-bladed Kato on it, and it's a nice prop. The one thing I really like is the metal leading edge. And now there's a bunch of vendors. I guess Whirlwind has them. Sensenich has a ground adjustable. But the metal leading edges, it will be a nice feature. You don't have to throttle back to 2,000 every time you fly through a rain shower.
Did you work with Greg Kato to determine the length and the pitch of your prop?
I didn't speak with him directly, but I spoke with his daughter. And he picked out the numbers on it, and it's dead on. 6871. It'll turn about 2,800 flat out down low. So he's pretty good. He said he's got Thorp's figured out real well. So odds are he'll hit you pretty close as long as you give him an accurate horsepower number.
What did you tell him that horsepower was?
I told him 170, and he said 170 to 175 because that engine is used in the carbon tubs, and he does, I don't know, 1,000 propellers for them. He's done a ton of them. So he's pretty familiar with the engine. But his props have a high RPM limitation on them, 3,300, so there's really no limit on them as far as RPM. You can fly through the rain. The only thing, they're a little spendy. They have a really good reputation.
Did you need a 3-blade for that?
No.
Did he supply the prop hub, or did you use a Sabre?
I got Sabre. He works with Sabre, so he sells them directly, or you can buy them right from Sabre.
And you have those too, by the way.
Oh, you sell them also?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it wouldn't have been necessary to go with the 3-blade at all. It just looks partly. He claims there's no decrease in performance. I think you lose a mile or 2 an hour on the top end, flat out. But it performs really well. I have yet to fly it next to a 320 or a 360 to see what it actually does, but we'll get a chance at Kentucky Dam. Pardon?
I see it's a whole other airplane.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely gets up and goes, especially take off and fly. And you were talking about shipping. I had an 0290 fresh overhauled engine I bought. It was being shipped at LTL freight, they call it, less than truckload. And it's about $350 for a big freight, but they lost it. That's why I went with this engine. They lost my engine, and then I put this new engine in, and my engine turned up. So anybody wants a 0-sense Major 290 V2, got one for sale.
What do you ask for it?
$8,000. It's a good top-notch overhaul.
That's a good buy.
Yeah, it'd be a cheap engine. It should be as good as any overhaul out there. What's going to be budget overhaul? That's about it. If anybody has any questions.
Thanks, Bernie. That's all I have. Does anybody have anything they'd like to announce or add? Sir, you sir.
I saw a couple more with
running a whirlwind propeller.